What happens when you have a celebration 25 years in the making and use modern technology to change a gameplay mechanic that was really cutting edge back in the day? What happens when you bring a bunch of monsters to life? And what happens when you bring a bunch of spiders to the mix? We'll be discussing all of that, plus multi madness Marvel. I'm going to be drawing in this episode of Delve. So sit back, relax, and get ready to delve live. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Delve Live. I'm Tom Morris. Delve is the show that covers a variety of pop culture topics, from video games to comic books to movies to animation. Everything we do in pop culture, we like to celebrate it. If you haven't already, make sure that you like us on our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So thank you. And let's get started with this episode of Delve. As you see there, Monster Rancher 1 and 2 remix, actually I should call it DX, was just announced today. But before I get into that, I just want to say that this week there's been one thing that everyone is going to be talking about, and that is the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. We're going to discuss that in depth and also the ramifications about the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse. And before we do that, though, there was just a game announcement that was just released today that I want to cover because I think it's very unique. How many of you, way back in the PlayStation 1 days, recall a game called Monster Hunter 1 and Monster Hunter 2 that came out, I believe, in 1997? Well, today, Koei Tecmo announced a Monster Hunter 1 and 2 DX remaster for the Nintendo Switch, PC on Steam, and for Apple iPad, iPhone, and even iPod Touch. Let me read to you some of the announcements and get into some of that information. Whoa, I'm all over the place. Hold on just a moment. There we go. Revisit the magical world of Monster Rancher with Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX. Raise your favorite monster and train them to compete against eccentric creatures in the ultimate tournament. In this press release, which was released today, August 26, today, Koei Tecmo proudly revealed that the beloved Monster Rancher series will finally make its triumphant return to the West with the release of Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX. The collection bundles together Monster Rancher 1, that was released in 1997, and Monster Rancher 2, 1999, bringing them to Nintendo Switch, Windows PC, and via Steam, and iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch via the App Store for the first time on December 9th, 2021. In celebration of the Magical Series' 25th anniversary, Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX brings the widely popular simulation games to modern hardware where players raise their own monsters and train them to compete against other eccentric creatures in combat and tournaments. With hundreds of different monster types, each with their own skills and abilities, every rancher will be able to raise and train monsters that are a perfect fit for their personality and playstyle. This special collection includes content that was never originally featured in the original Western releases, such as additional save slots, freeze slots, and Monster Hall of Fame slots. New features have also been added to Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX, including a memo feature to use while raising monsters, rankings for random battles, and a high-speed mode to play through the game faster. I noticed that a lot of games have that mode now, high speed mode, especially role playing games where you can kind of walk faster. You can do a lot of items faster. Right now, I'm scrolling through the pictures of Monster Rancher 1. This might bring back some nostalgic memories. Kind of Monster Rancher 2. There we go. The Monster Rancher series originally launched with a unique feature that allowed players to use physical CDs to generate monsters in the game, which each CD having a unique ID that would spawn a different monster. This feature has been reworked in Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX, allowing players to search a database to find their desired CD and generate a monster from its data. Enjoy searching a vast database of songs from around the world and generating monsters based off some of your favorite music. And if you want more information on Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX, you can check out Koei Tecmo's official website. You can find them, like them on Facebook at Koei Tecmo US, and follow them on Twitter. How many of you are familiar with Koei and or Tecmo? Koei is best known for their Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors franchises. Tecmo is best known for the Dead or Alive, Ninja Gaiden, Tecmo Bowl, and Fatal Frame series. Recently, you might have seen Koei Tecmo. They actually developed Hyrule Warriors for the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo 3DS, and Nintendo Wii U series of games. So I really think this is kind of cool that they are bringing back a very creative and very unique experience back to the United States in the form of this Monster Rancher. And I gotta apologize if I keep calling it Monster Hunter. I'm mixing these, but they are definitely different games all the way around. As you can see, it's a role-playing game, a lot of strategy involved, leveling up your monsters to compete, participate in tournaments. If you played some Pokemon, very similar to that aspect of the play. But the CD at the time was revolutionary. Now we can talk about, as always, we can talk about the games, but let us watch a game announcement trailer, which I thought was very unique, and you'll see why in just a moment.
皆さんこんにちは。モンスターファームシリーズのエグゼクティブプロデューサーの藤田です。モンスターファームシリーズもいよいよ発売から25年目を迎えました。この1年間はモンスターファーム25周年イヤーということで、いろんなことをやっていこうと思います。海外でもね、モンスターランチャー1、モンスターランチャー2をはじめ、さまざまなモンスターファームタイトルをお届けしてきたわけですけども、一昨年モンスターファーム1、昨年モンスターファーム2を日本でリバイバル発売しました。その時からですね、実は SNS を通じてたくさんの海外の皆さんからモンスターランチャーの1もモンスターランチャーの2もアーカイブで出してくれないかという声をたくさんいただいてました。もちろん私自身が実際当時アメリカに渡って一生懸命プロモーションしてアニメを一緒に作って広げていったっていう思い入れがあって、本当は皆さんのねその熱いメッセージを見てすぐに出したかったんですけど、なかなか準備に時間がかかっていた。でもちゃんと読んでましたよ。一回一回返事をしたかった。本当は皆さんに作ってるよ、待っててねって言いたかったんですけども、ようやく今日発表できます。モンスターランチャー 1&2 をパックにして今年の冬海外の皆さんにもお届けしたいと思います。いやー長かったですけども、当時の興奮をねぜひ思い出してもらって、仲間と対戦してもらって 日本のみんなともね、いろいろとやり取りできる機能も備えてます。当時からモンスターのパラメータとかもチューニングして、新しいモンスターファーム1、モンスターファーム2、そしてモンスターランチャー1、モンスターランチャー2がこれで日本と世界と両方揃います。ぜひ皆さんお手元でこの冬お楽しみください。ありがとうございました。
Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX will be coming out this winter in December, as you saw for multiple systems, Nintendo Switch. Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how they do the database because it does take some of the fun out of, like Josh has put in the comments, it takes some of the fun out of going to your rack and grabbing CDs. But if they can make the dynamic work for consoles, I think that's going to be really cool because you'll be able to play with players around the world and just kind of go back to that nostalgia of playing this game. And it was very big in Japan and it had a cult following in the United States. And Koei Tecmo is releasing another game that I think will be a lot of fun to try. And I hope maybe they had a demo. I believe back in the PlayStation days, they did have a demo for this game. I'm looking forward to that. Let me know in the comments what you think of kind of revisiting your past. And sometimes you can go home. And I say that sometimes you can't go home. And if you're Spider-Man, you can, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you definitely are having some issues going home. As we all know, this week, Marvel Studios, Sony, Columbia Pictures released the long-awaited Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. Now, what's to say about this movie that hasn't been said already? Once this trailer got released, everyone was kind of, whoa, what did we see? Well, we're going to look at the trailer in just a moment. Spider-Man No Way Home, exclusively in movie theaters on December 17th, 2021. For the first time in cinematic history of Spider-Man, our friendly neighborhood hero is unmasked and is no longer able to separate his normal life from the high stakes of being a superhero. When he's asked for help from Doctor Strange, the stakes become even more dangerous, forcing him to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man. Let's watch this trailer, and then we're going to discuss Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh, look at this. This is a good one. Some suggest that Parker's powers include the male spider's ability to hypnotize females.
Stop, come on.
Yes, my spider lord.
Can we just stay up here all day? It is so crazy down there.
That's right, folks. Spider-Man is in fact Peter Parker.
Listen, I did not kill Mysterio. The drones did.
The drones that are yours.
Does any part of you feel relieved about all this?
What do you mean?
Now that everybody knows, you don't really have to hide or lie to people.
For the record, I never wanted to lie to you. But how do you tell someone that you're Spider-Man? Now everybody knows. But this isn't about me. This is hurting a lot of people. I've just been thinking about how to fix all of this.
So, Peter, to what do I owe the pleasure?
I'm sorry to bother you, sir.
Please, we saved half the universe together. I think we're beyond you calling me sir.
Okay, Steven.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
When Mysterio revealed my identity, my entire life got screwed up. I was wondering if maybe you could make it so that he never did.
Strange. Don't cast that spell. It's too dangerous. Fine. I won't. The entire world is about to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Wait, everyone? Can't some people still know?
That's not how the spell works.
So MJ's gonna forget about everything we've ever been through?
Stop tampering with the spell.
Oh my god, Ned, he's my best friend. Oh, my Aunt May should really know.
Stop talking!
What just happened?
We tampered with the stability of space-time. The multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little. The problem is you trying to live two different lives. The longer you do it, the more dangerous it becomes. Be careful what you wish for, Parker.
Hello, Peter.
What is there to say about that trailer then? Can December 17th come fast enough as we figure out what the heck is going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or we should call it the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, with everyone's favorite character, one of their favorites, Spider-Man. And you see, we've got Doctor Strange. We have kind of hints of the Green Goblin from the original Sony movies, Doc Ock. We have so much to unravel in Spider-Man Far From Home. Just even the point of Spider-Man being unmasked. It's been covered in the comic books, but in the movies, this is pretty big. How is this going to balance in what we already know about the Spider-Man mythos with the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Which I thought it'd be kind of fun to do something unique this episode. We're going to actually kind of go through the Marvel MCU timeline through an app, a drawing app that I have on my iPad called Procreate. We're actually going to do a delve deep dive. What exactly is going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Let me get my brushes ready. Let's see. I want to use paint. Use red. Okay. So if we look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a timeline, that is actually a little bit too big. Okay. So right now we've got whoa. We got a mess is what we got right here. I just want to talk a little bit about what is going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I want to find, let's see here. Ink. So if we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a timeline, everything's going good. Everything's kind of going here. Even when we had the events of Avengers, I don't like that brush either. Sketching. There we go. So we have the events of Avengers, and even when they did do some of the timeline here, they branched it off, except for the Loki event, which we saw in Loki. But even then, Loki was supposed to say, okay, this was all supposed to happen. So the branch was supposed to go in the MCU timeline, this main line right here. Kind of wish I had sound effects to go along with this. But as you saw, as the events of Loki happened, after the events of Loki, it started to branch off into different branches. And that's what they call the multiverse, where endless possibilities are happening. Just draw a few branches here. So this is like the Loki point. Then we have the What If series. If you haven't watched the Marvel What If series, I highly recommend on Disney Plus that you watch this What If series, because it's showing classic Marvel characters in not so classic situations. So we've had 3 of these happening so far with the What If series, and I believe we're going to have 7 episodes. But here's the thing that they're talking about. What if it's in continuity, which kind of is kind of weird when you think about it, that everything going on in Marvel, the what if Captain Carter, happy little alternate universe. What if Captain Carter, Agent Carter became Captain Carter? What if we also had T'Challa became Star-Lord? What if Earth lost its mightiest heroes were just premiered? So we've had those 3. So let's say those are the blue. Then we're going to have more multi what if episodes. So that's the timeline of the MCU right now. We'll call it the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'll add some clouds right here. Some nice little clouds. Happy little clouds. Now we'll add a layer of additional complexity. I'm going to use yellow. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to use a bigger size brush because it looks like the events of Spider-Man takes the multiverse and just starts creating branches that intersect, weave. Everything kind of goes into chaos. As you can see right here, you have timelines that fall back in itself, they collapse. You also have to look that Dr. Octopus is from the Sony branch of the multiverse. So if you had the Sony properties and the Fox X-Men movies, and you have the MCU, they're all supposed to be separate. But so whatever happens in Spider-Man from the Loki thing kind of kept it self-contained, as you had from here to here, all within that Marvel Cinematic Universe. But what happens now is the timeline. I'm having way too much fun with this than I should. Flat brush. So the timeline is skewing the Marvel movies, the Sony properties. Everything begins to have branching in and out. That's why we're going to have the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. There's rumors to, and then the MC Happy Alternate Universe. Having too much fun aside, drawing that roadmap pretty much means that, to me, Marvel still knows what they're doing. Phase 3 got done with Avengers Endgame, and then we had the Spider-Man, what I call the epilogue. I didn't know where the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and probably most of the fans didn't know. We had ideas of what we wanted. I was ready to drop off, but having now this multiverse that was introduced in Loki, which was actually hinted at the Vision and Scarlet Witch or WandaVision show, then coming back to Loki, and now having What If kind of exploring these timelines, Marvel is doing everything for a reason. They have mapped out their whole stories as we go in their movies, in their Disney Plus television. There's a lot of innuendos about who is the lawyer representing Peter Parker. Is it the actor that played Daredevil, playing Daredevil again? We saw Doc Ock from the Sony Spidey movies. Is there other characters that we don't know about? Is there going to be cameos by the two actors, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, who played Spider-Man in two of the Sony franchises? Marvel has they definitely have a roadmap, and it might not be as cool as mine looks, but I guarantee they know what's going on with their timeline. So just remember, when you're watching these shows and these series being announced and the timing, everything is happening for a reason. So when it comes to timeline, it is very quite confusing, but it's very fun to just kind of think about. Which brings me to my Delve Pop question of the day. Have you been able to make sense of all this timeline talk? And definitely let me know in the comments if you would like me to discuss this further, as especially when we get into the end of What If, because we've got What If, we have the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We have a few titles that is going to really show us what the future of the MU holds. Let us go into the chat, celebrate the chat, and see what we got. Jeremy, excuse me. Josh put in, I played Monster Rancher. Can't believe that's coming back. When I saw that release, that announcement, and saw the video, I was thinking that is definitely a game that will be very unique in just to see how they do the CD based. But I think with Pokemon, Digimon, other collectibles, and maybe even if you want to call like Animal Crossing, a lot of people love playing these monster simulators, and especially now that you can go online, I would think where they talked about playing players from Japan, this opens up a whole new set of play mechanics and variety of plays. I think that's going to be really awesome. And you touched also on wondering how they were working the CD-based generating. My friend Hairraiser actually brought that up as well. Since they had a lot fewer CDs in the world now, I wonder if the PC, if they will have, if you can still put in your CDs, maybe if they're going to do something with Apple, with the App Store, if you can scan your music, your digital albums, and maybe scan some unique monsters. That would be pretty neat as well. Especially now they said CDs for all around the world. So some of the Japanese music like Hi Hi Puffy Yami Yumi, that would be kind of cool. They did the Teen Titans. You need to watch this movie. Yes, you do. And hopefully when it comes out December 17th, we'll be watching it together. That'll be a great Christmas. Hopefully if they don't do it in the theater as well, do it video on demand. We'll see where everything goes, but that looks like it's going to be a double watch. You watch it at least twice. So happy to see Alfred Molina back as Doc Ock, and so happy they brought back J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. He's one of my favorite casting decisions ever. Agreed. If there was someone that was definitely made for the role of J. Jonah Jameson, he definitely made it his own, and sometimes you just can't replace him. So I wonder if they'll have a meta scene where they have the multiple J. Jonah Jamesons from the multiverse kind of get together. That would, I think, blow our collective pop culture heads away. I got to do a Bob Ross style, add a happy little alternate universe here, a happy little alternate universe there. I definitely will. I actually plan on doing more fun with this Procreate, maybe doing some drawings as good as I can draw, but definitely doing something fun with those. And I need to print those timelines out and frame them to keep at work, just in case you need to spontaneously explain how the MCU timeline works. Yeah, I could do a seminar on that, do a live webinar. How does the MCU work? There's still rumors of a Spider-Man Venom crossover. I've read that as well. And the Morbius trailer seemingly featured Michael Keaton back as the Vulture. Hopefully that universe will be continued on. I definitely think they will at some point mix them all together. And let me show you, let me see, video. Time-lapse replay. Okay. Just for the fun of it, we are going to go back and we're going to watch a video time-lapse of this multiverse, just because it's fun to do. As you see, there's my MCU timeline. And that is how you create a multi-cinematic universe. I just like playing with Procreate. Um, so if you do not have any other confusion about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I suggest that you watch What If is excellent. The second episode with T'Challa was awesome. We had this other one just this past Wednesday. What if Earth's Mightiest Heroes? What if we didn't have them? That was interesting. And really, with the whole point, pop culture, we have so much going on, whether it's a movie trailer, a re-release of a game that you played 25 years ago, but new mechanics are introduced. And just when you think you know it or you can figure out where it's going, they change something. And even if you think you absolutely know it, let's see how they execute it. Let's see how they bring it to fruition, and that way we can kind of enjoy the moment. That's really what another reason I love pop culture is, just because we know or we think we know how something is going to happen or what mechanic is going to be. How do they achieve it? And then that's why we sit at the movie theaters, we play games, we watch trailers, because you never know when they'll shake up the paradigm, and we can just say, oh, I never thought of doing that, or I never thought I was doing this, or I'm glad that they brought this character back. That's why I enjoy pop culture. So I want to thank you all for watching this episode of Delve Live. Just remember to follow us on our social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Leave me a comment in the comment sections what type of coverage you'd like to see. In the next couple weeks, I'll be covering some more Transformers, because there's some announcements that we're going to get here pretty soon on new figures. And definitely we'll be starting back up my Now Playing, where there's a couple of games that I want to get to and discuss while we're playing. So thank you for watching. Until next time, delve on.